Rev up your engines!
Well, it looks like the gas might go up $1 a gallon in the Corn Belt of the United States. You wonder, how come it's going up so high there and not in other places? Well, it's because they say they have a lack of storage gasoline in that area. They don't have enough to go around. So they just raise the price. Isn't that nice? You know, I'm sorry, we don't have enough, so we're going to charge you more for it. You really wonder about how energy is allowed to be sold in this country. I'll give you a perfect example. I got a place in Rhode Island. Right? Rhode Island is the state where people use the least amount of electricity per month per household than any state in the nation. So they use the least amount of electricity, but they pay the highest rate. They're like, well, you guys aren't using enough. We'll just charge you more for the little amount that you do use. Kind of disgusting, you know, when you think about it. But that's how it goes. So if you're in the Midwest now, you might be paying $1 a gallon more than other people because, well, there's a shortage of gasoline in your area, so we will just raise the price. You know, it's unbelievable that they're even allowed to do this stuff, but they do. So if you're in an area where the price goes really high, they're gouging you because they feel like doing it because they say, yeah, we don't have enough of it, so we'll charge more for it. What the heck? What are these people going to do? They can't make their own gasoline, right? We're getting close to the UAW Big Three labor negotiations. The Union All Workers President called GM's offer of a 10% pay increase an insult. Now this is 10% over the next 4 years. Well, that isn't even going to be keeping up with inflation the way that it's going, right? I always laugh my butt off. This is GM, right? GM has the highest paid CEO, Mary Barra, right? The qualities, they lose money on electric cars, yet she's getting paid all this money, right? But then when it comes to paying the workers, oh, well, we can't even give you 10% over 4 years, right? 2.5% a year. That's not even inflation, people. As the president of the URW, Shawn Fain, says, it's an insulting proposal that doesn't come close to an equitable agreement for America's auto workers. Now, all I have to say is if they continue this farce of electric vehicles and push towards electric vehicles, when people don't buy them, that's going to be much bigger than this union agreement. If they start making millions of electric cars and people don't buy them, that's going to be the biggest stickler point of them all. You know, they're worried about labor negotiation now. You know, maybe they should worry about where they're headed as a company itself. They start making all these electric cars and people don't buy them. What are they going to do? Have a wholesale, going out of business sale? GM, please buy our electric cars, right? That, to me, is the bigger issue. Are they headed in the wrong direction? I mean, GM's been headed in the wrong direction for decades, if you ask me. Their quality back in the 90s, early 2000s, they made pretty good vehicles, but they've been going downhill for quite some time. Betting the farm on electric vehicles seems to me to be a pretty stupid idea in the first place. They got worries about labor strikes now. Let's look at the long term. They got bigger problems than that in the long term, if you ask me. Tanker Pilot 01 says, is it a bad idea to buy a one-owner 2018 hybrid Camry sight on scene? It's 430 miles from me. It's in Missouri. I'm in Minnesota. It takes 12 hours to drive there. It has 65,000 miles and they're asking $25,000. What do you think? All right. Well, you say it's at a Toyota dealer, right? And you say it's a certified used Toyota with Toyota warranty. So it's probably a good car, right? Now, $25,000 for a car with 65,000 miles that's 6 years old. To me, it's a little high, but I mean, that's up to you. You got a warranty with Toyota on it, so that part I wouldn't really be worried about. I personally would never buy a car sight unseen. Who knows? Maybe it's been wrecked, flooded, stolen. You don't know. You might get there and then find out it's a refurbished title. Who knows? You know, I personally wouldn't do it. You know, I would want a lot more information, and I would call them and say, are you guaranteeing this thing hasn't been wrecked, flooded, stolen? I would get the VIN number from them, and I'd run a Carfax. Not that Carfax is 100% accurate, but at least if there's some serious wreck it had been in, that would show up on Carfax, and then you wouldn't travel all that 12-hour drive to see something that had been in a wreck. So do all that. Mr. Bob says, what impact wrench should I buy? I want an impact wrench to take the lug nuts off my car. Harbor Freight sells an 8.5 amp model for $89. But it's corded. I'm thinking about cordless ones, but they're pricey. What do you think? Get the corded one, man. I bought a Harbor Freight one, the same one you're talking about, for $89. I've had it for 5 years. It still works perfectly fine. Understand this. The higher voltage you have in an electric tool, you plug that sucker in a wall, you got 112 12 volts going into them. Some of the good battery-powered ones, they might be 24, some are even 42 volts. That's still not 112 volts. Plus, the stupid battery ones, the battery's going to go bad, then you need it, it doesn't work. Hey, you got an extension cord, they cost nothing. Get a 100-foot extension cord, plug it into your house, and get the corded one, and you'll be happy. Because you say you want it to take lug nuts off your car. You're not using it all the time, you're at your house, and those are decent ones for 89 bucks. They've really gone uphill the last decade. They used to be kind of crappy back in the day, 2-3 decades ago. I tried electric impacts, they were crap. They wouldn't take anything off. But now they work quite well. But the 112 plug into your house ones are the best. They have the most power, they last the longest, and they have the least problems. And you don't have to worry about charging stupid batteries. Bob the Hatkin says, what is a hydraulic timing belt actuator and do I need it? I got a Volvo. I need to change the timing belt because the rubber goes bad. They have hydraulic timing belt actuators. Should I change that too? What does it do? Yes. You definitely want to change it. The hydraulic activator pushes it in. It's hydraulic. It's got pressure in it, right? As they age, they wear out. And you said that's a 93 Volvo. So that's old. That's what pushes it in. And if it gets old and doesn't push right, the timing belt will fly off. Any car that's got 100,000 miles or more, you want to change it. You got the whole thing taken apart in the front. You might as well take those last 2 bolts off. It only makes sense because that's what pushes the belt tight. And it is the only thing that pushes the belt tight. If it goes bad and it's worn, or let's say you put it on, it seems okay, but it's 93, it's old, then it stops working, boom, the belt flies off, there goes your engine. Because they flat wear out. There's hydraulics, fluid, the seal eventually goes bad, it'll leak, they don't want to have enough pressure, and the belt will fly off. Honey001 says, am I too late to start changing my transmission fluid? I got a 2019 Mitsubishi Outlander with 240,000 miles. Never had anything except changing the alternator. I want to change the transmission fluid. What do you think? I think you should leave it alone. You have 240,000 miles and you never changed it. If you change it now, it might start to slip and not work right. Unfortunately, that's how those things go. Me, I change every 40,000 miles. Just drain and fill, right? It's not that hard to do. You can learn to do it yourself. But with 240,000 miles on it now, if I were you, I would not touch it. You're tempting fate. It might slip. It might not even drive after you change the fluid. Just leave it alone. That's why you want to do maintenance regularly in transmissions. They're different than like if it was your coolant. Of course, change your coolant. Dirty coolant's bad. All it does is flow through the system, right? But with automatic transmission fluid, depending on its viscosity and how clean or dirty it is, it will flow differently inside the system that goes through little holes and valves and has a pump, an oil pump that pumps it. No, you wouldn't touch it now. Well, now the Chinese are claiming a new record. They say that a 14.3 megawatt wind turbine, the biggest in the world, was installed in just 30 hours. Now, they're saying 30 work hours, not 30 hours in a row, 30 work hours, right? Now, personally, I wouldn't believe anything that comes out of China. They lie about everything. They only give selected information out. But my question is, let's say they actually did put this giant erector set together in 30 hours of working, right? How long is it going to last? The problem with wind generation is those things wear out too fast, right? And I'm assuming the bigger they are, the faster they're going to wear out. There's going to be even more strain on the bearings and on the blades being bigger. The bigger they are, the more stress there is, right? Sometimes bigger is not better. You get to a certain size, it's no longer efficient. That's just the way engineering often works. And then if you get too big, you might end up with all kinds of problems. Maybe it's going to blow over faster. Maybe it's going to wear out faster. Maybe the wind is going to bother it more because it's so big and they never made one that big. I don't personally believe anything the Chinese say anyways, but I wouldn't bet the bank that they built it in that short period of time and that it's going to last all that long. Hey, it took them 30 hours to put it up. Maybe 30 days later it'll fall down. But I really doubt we'll get any real information from China. They hide everything, right? If it was open-ended and you find out that, okay, they built this giant thing, it makes all this electricity. But how many years is it actually going to last? That's why the companies in Europe, a bunch of them are starting to go bankrupt. They make the giant windmills. They don't last as long. They say, oh, this thing should last 25 years. 25 years isn't that good. Most power plants will go 80 to 100 years, right? So it's not that good to begin with. And then they find out, well, gee, they don't last as long as we thought. And they kind of break more than we thought they were going to break. It's not technology that you want to bet the farm on, or you may lose the farm. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.